Thank you for tuning in to another edition of Pre-Market Pulse Game with yours truly, Dex the Algo Capitalist, aka the Vulcan, coming to you live from PulseWaveTrading.com, home of the world famous PulseWave price trigger reports that we place in your hand each and every trading day. All right, so today is the quad, which, yeah, man, it's Take Back Friday and a quad, which. Well, the Dow futures are up 14 points at 27,830. NASDAQ 100 up 61 points at 11,136 and a quarter. Even the S&P 500 is up 9 points at 3360 even. Russell My Hustle is only up 1.5 points at 1539 even. Futures Bitcoin composite index is up 70 at 11,020. Broke that 11,000 handle. We got nat gas down 3 cents at $2.01. Crude oil up 12 cents at $41.35 a barrel. Long bond is up 5.30 seconds at 176 and 20 seconds. Gold futures up $7.30 at $1,957 even. Silver down 12 cents at $26.98 per ounce. U.S. dollar index is off 6 ticks at 92.90. The euro dollar right now is up 7 pips at 118.68. Pound sterling down 2 pips at 129.65. Aussie down 9 at 72.97. Canadian dollar up 19 at 131.84. Euro yen down 42 pips at 123.67. Dollar yen down 35 at 104.36. And the Kiwi is up 12 at 67.68. We got soybeans on fire this morning, up 9.5, trading at 10.38. Man, that's something else. $10.38 a bushel. All right. Will we see beans in the teens? We got corn up 1.5 at 376 and 3/4, and wheat is up 4 at 560 and a quarter. All right, so that is the overnight markets. Now the overnight market news is as follows: OPEC Plus urges full conformity with production cuts, and Saudi Arabia's energy minister warns market gamblers will be hurt. OPEC Plus emphasized on sustaining full conformity with oil production cuts at its Thursday meeting, which was held to review compliance targets. All right, we got, I think I'm going to butcher this name, but I don't intend to. CaixaBank and Bankia merge, paving the way for Spain to create biggest domestic bank worth more than $786 billion. So the Spanish state-owned Bankia said on Friday they had got the green light from their board to merge, creating the country's largest domestic bank. All right, Goldman Sachs is saying that oil prices are set to move meaningfully higher into the next year. I don't know if I would agree with that. We'll have to wait and see. Again, oil is the political football of choice for politicians, so they're probably going to kick it around as long as they can until they get what they want. Let's see here what else we got. World Bank chief economist says full global recovery from COVID-19 crisis may take 5 years. Everything depends on when a vaccine gets approved and how long it would take for global access, she said at a virtual conference hosted by El Paz. Roche Biomedical jumps 2% after unveiling COVID-19 antibody tests and on finding its drugs cut need for ventilators. The new measure is Roche's 12th test in its coronavirus portfolio, and the company has filed for emergency use authorization from the U.S. FDA. Global stocks are mixed. Most European stocks are down, but Germany's DAX is flat. Asian stocks are up. And here in the U.S., we're up about 0.4%. Earnings coming in is Apple Green and Catering International Services Q2 earnings are expected. And on the economic front, we got the U.S. Baker Hughes oil rig count and the Michigan Consumer Sentiment Index. All right, the Michigan Consumer Sentiment Index will be a market moving event, so be forewarned on that one. Yes, that's how it is, man. That Michigan consumer confidence can be a beast at times. All right, so what else we got going on? Well, today is that quad wedge player, and it's a take back Friday. So U.S. equity futures, are pretty much flat at this point. But there's a note on Bloomberg. All right. See, what normally happens is when you have a traditional, Friday situation like this, you're gonna have some pretty interesting volatility because of the quad witch, because you got the expiration of options and futures, and that can be quite interesting. All right, especially those who are unwinding or rolling over large derivative positions. And as Bloomberg notes, there may be more attention than usual after a month where the red hot trade in tech stocks wavered and options activity dominated the headlines. However, since there are fewer expirations this time, it may mute the impacts. We may not even see too much going on today as a result of that. Now, it should be noted that Tesla rose 2.1% in pre-market trading after two analysts raised their price targets on the electric car maker shares ahead of its highly anticipated Battery Day event next week. This is going to be some interesting times that we're heading into. All right. It should also be noted, as far as this coronavirus surging and all that stuff. Well, we got France's daily cases rising by more than 10,000 to the highest since the end of the lockdowns in May. And the market is somehow uninspired following recent central bank meetings. The market seems to have shrugged all that off, which is really, really interesting. All right, so the UK Health Secretary has declined to rule out a second national lockdown and said the acceleration of coronavirus cases and hospital admissions across the UK represents a big moment for the country. A lot going on in the UK, man. A whole lot. So pretty much that's pretty much about it as far as what's going on today. Those are the big highlights. And you do need to be very, very, very careful with that. I don't think we're going to see too much of anything because of what's going on. But just be mindful that the large wealth funds out there, they warned you and told you they had ridiculous short positions. So if not today, then like I said, there's still a 95% chance of a sell-off coming between today and starting Monday. So between now and Monday, you need to be very careful. All right. I'm just saying, already during the week ending in September the 11th, you got some large insiders that sold more than $473 million in shares, okay, while only buying back $9.5 million. So you got a lot of net short positions out there, okay? So just be careful. Also, they're already preparing behind the scenes on the down low for some crazy stuff. World Bank is already telling you that the recovery could take 5 years. All right. And we have this whole response to the coronavirus changing everything about the world. Just think, one little virus with a 99% healing rate, meaning that you have a 99% chance of healing from this thing. They've decided to use this as a opportunity to bring forth communist Marxist changes to the world, to move one step closer toward global tyranny. All right. Now they could have done this when the HIV virus came out. That would have that would have been more understandable because there was some real panic back then. Way more panic than you got now. You don't really have any panic now. You have the story. You have a commentary of panic. They use their political muscle to declare the coronavirus a pandemic, but it's not even deadlier than the common flu. All right. I understand if they would have did this back in the day when the HIV thing came out. There was true panic back then. For those of you that were not alive back then, you have no idea what I'm talking about. It was true panic back then. But there was no lockdown. There was no mandatory mask wearing or none of that. And AIDS is a real killer. Now, of course, they got all types of cocktails and stuff to prolong life, but back then that was unheard of. People were dropping like flies. And it didn't matter what your age was, or it didn't matter if you had underlying medical conditions or not. You could have been an all-star athlete. It didn't matter. AIDS was taking everybody out. Children were dying, old people dying, young people dying. It didn't matter. Didn't matter. AIDS didn't give a darn. Now that's a scary disease, but COVID not so scary. But they used it though to push all these agendas that they've been seeking to do for a long time. So you need to open your eyes to that. And this was pre-planned. It didn't just come out of nowhere. All right, you need to understand that too. Okay. So be ready, you guys. All right, because it's about a lot of things are about to be off the chain, man. Off the chain going forward. Now, this year may end with a whimper. All right, it may not be a really bad November, even though there's a lot there is a lot of information out there that suggests that they are preparing to make a move in November, a power grab in November. The word on the street is that the Democrats have already put everything in place that they need to steal the election from Trump in November. Even if Trump wins, they're going to manipulate the mail-in vote tally to suggest that he loses. So it's a lose-lose proposition for Donald Trump because they already know they can't beat him in a general election. So they're going to lose. And on election night, it's going to show that Donald Trump remains the president. But then they're going to come in. See, they've already said that they've already made sure that their plan works this time. But then they're going to say, wait, not so fast. So at some point after the election, they'll say, not so fast. We got X amount of mail-in ballots that just arrived, and Trump is not the president. So they're going to manipulate. That's why they wanted to change the way we vote. They want to change the way we vote so that they could have all the power to manipulate and say that the president has lost. All right, you're gonna want to remember what I'm saying to you. All right, everything is in place to steal the election. Remember, the dog that barks the loudest is the one that is the liar. What people like to do is to put on you the guilt of what they are either doing, have done, or planning to do. So they'll say, like they've been doing, laying the groundwork, Russia's meddling in our election. Donald Trump has asked Russia to help him win the election so that when he wins, they get to go back and say, remember, we told you that he was going to win the election because of the Soviet Union, because of Russia. See, we were right. He won because of Russia. But not so fast. That's why we got these mail-in ballots. We ain't finished tallying them yet. Oh, now we have. Look, he lost. See what I'm saying? So they've already laid everything out. They've already prepared you with the mainstream media telling you that, oh, Russia is meddling in the election. We caught them red-handed this time. Yeah, we got him. And they're going to make sure he wins. So then when he wins, they're going to say, see, we told you. He only won because of Russia. But we got these mail-in ballots right here. So you're out of here, buddy. Ha, you lose. It's a very sophisticated and brilliant and genius plan. They've already laid the foundation for everything so that they can steal the election. And if you think about it, it makes a lot of sense. You blame him for trying to rig and steal the election because that's what you're doing. It takes the spotlight off of what you're doing. See what I'm saying? So, yeah, it's one of those situations. So now I'm telling you what's going to happen. Like I told you last year. And I mean, not last year, but in 2016. And yes, the same thing, the same scenario is about to be. If Trump remains in the White House, the stock market rally will resume. However, the corrective pullback is going to continue up into November. I didn't say crash. I didn't even say sell off. I said correction, pullback. Market is in a corrective state right now. It's going to stay there until after those elections. Now, if he wins, we put in a short-term bottom and resume the stock market rally that will last several more years. If the president loses the election, let's say he loses the general election on election night, and when the paper ballots finally get counted, they say, yep, that's a double loss. He lost both. He lost both. He lost. Let's assume that happens, right? You can expect on that moment, the stock market will absolutely crash, roll over, fall, whatever word you want to use. You're going to see everybody running for the exit because they know what that means. And if you got any money in the market at that point, long-term holdings, the Democrats are coming to take your money. They already know that. All right. They're going to tax you to oblivion. So people are going to be taking their money out of the market and getting that money overseas immediately, getting it out of US dollars immediately. All right. Listen to what I'm trying to tell you. I'm trying to put you on game so you won't be blindsided. All right. So just understand what's going on here. This is theater. All right. This is theater. Okay. Theater. At the end of the day, I mean, now I have to admit, every last one of these politicians deserves an Emmy, an Oscar, Grammy, whatever you want to put in there. They are the elite actors of our era. You know, I thought Samuel L. Jackson and, people like that, you know what I'm saying, were incredible actors and could wear many hats, But no, politicians are the world's greatest actors and actresses that the world has ever seen. They have convinced you that the Republicans and Democrats are beefing and hate each other. They have written an amazing script for you. I thought the writers of the series with Ghost, the 50 Cent joint. I thought the writers on that joint were incredible. But nah, whoever wrote the script for what we're seeing now deserves all types of Pulitzer Prizes and everything else, but their pen is nasty. I couldn't have thought this up in a million years, but they have a script and they've been sticking to it. And they want to divide the people, right? They're causing the people to fight civil war. As long as you're fighting your fellow countrymen, you're not fighting the tyranny. And that's exactly how they like it. And people are playing right into their hands. All right. We've never had a two-party system, you guys. Never. It's never been a two-party system. It's one party, their party, and you're not invited. All right. Please understand that. It's not two parties. It's one party. I've explained this over and over again. You're looking at one football team. The only reason why they're wearing two different color jerseys is because this is a practice scrimmage. They're preparing for the big game. They're preparing for the Super Bowl. So for the uninitiated, you look on the football field during their practice and you see, oh, what teams are playing today? Who's the blue team? Who's the red team? I think the red team's going to win. You don't understand because you're uninitiated. You don't understand that they're all on the same team. This is a rehearsal. They're on the same team. To someone just walking off the street looking, you'd be like, oh, who's playing? I like the red team. No, I like the blue team. But you don't know they're on the same team. The red team and the blue team are on the same team. Always have been, always will be. It's how it is. It's a game. It's theater for you. It's for you, for your benefit. Now, we got to look at what's really in the cards for you. And it's not about this year. It's about next year. Next year is what is really about. That's what this is all really about. All right. They're preparing for more lockdowns and for more restrictions on your civil liberties. They want to destroy the Constitution. But how? Well, if you think about it, this whole COVID thing came pretty close to causing a legitimate crisis only in the New York City area. And there only with help from Governor Cuomo's kill people in nursing homes policy. Now, not that they needed much help, as the virus has killed mostly the frail and elderly, according to one study. People who normally would have died of the flu a year or two ago had not the last two flu seasons been relatively light. Moreover, death counts have been confusing, with documented instances of people dying in motorcycle accidents and from terminal cancer being counted as COVID-19 fatalities. Again, corruption, conspiracy. Now, death rates in the United States are running at 109% of expectations, but parsing everything out is difficult because the lockdowns caused the additional deaths from suicide and abuse while decreasing deaths from motor vehicle and other accidents. Again, the lockdowns caused the additional deaths from suicide and abuse while decreasing deaths from motor vehicle and other accidents. Now, definitive stats on the number killed by lockdowns as opposed to the virus, as opposed to old age and other comorbidities may never be made available. Even discerning the number of COVID-19 cases is problematic because many people who had the virus, especially early on, were not officially tested for it. On the other hand, tests report the formerly venerable New York Times now may be returning and reoccurring mostly false positives because they are super sensitive and return only a binary yes or no response, even though being infected with the virus is a far cry different than being pregnant. Now, magnitudes matter when it comes to spreading the little virus because another problem is that viral spread is usually not salient. So the scientists we are supposed to be following have never really tried to track an evolving situation like this closely before. And they are clearly clueless about how to go about all of this. But that is not a reason to panic about the virus. It is a reason to panic about the sanity or intentions of our elected officials who need to pay dearly for destroying our civil liberties and destroying the country in the process with these economic destructive lockdowns. Now, although the virus is less deadly than at first expected, and treatments have improved, for example, by not putting people on those ventilators we so desperately thought we needed back in March, well, the disease appears to have run its course in much of the country. Politicians and the media continue to stir up uncertainty, which they use to stoke fear in the public and continue compliance with government dictates, school closings, and et cetera, et cetera. All right. Now, you may be convinced that it is, a moot point, but it isn't going to help you if most of your neighbors still insists on mask and social distancing. All right. If more coronavirus restrictions seem unlikely, look at what has already been going on in Australia, which is creating a techno police state in a reputed effort to save people from something that won't, indeed can't hurt most of them. Again, this COVID-19 is being used as an excuse to bring in and roll out the tyranny. Now, the recent federal district court decision smacking down Pennsylvania's lockdown is heartening. But what took so long? What took so long? Why wait this long? All right. Now, it's not clear that mask and other social distancing mandates will meet the same fate as shelter-in-place orders and other core lockdown measures, at least before 2021 rolls in. As John Tammy recently noted, corona reverence is far more political than believers have previously felt comfortable admitting. Now, America has a long history of riots that make even looted retail stores, torch buildings, and occupied police precincts appear like a walk in the park by comparison. With so much at stake in the presidential election due to our inability and unwillingness to curb the federal government's power, both sides have incentives to rile up their bases when one or the other side loses this November. Where it ends, nobody knows, but the historical precedents are pretty frightening. Many early American riots were deadly affairs, replete with real bombs and cannon, showering lead grape shot hither and thither all over the world. And the targets of wrath were often critical infrastructure, not symbolic statues. In 1837, for example, radical Democrats called Loco Foco stirred up the crowd for partisan gain, but after New York City's mayor was assailed by sticks, brickbats, and pieces of ice, violence escalated and turned increasingly irrational. All right. Enraged rioters breached the defenses of flour wholesaler Eli Hart and destroyed much of his stock because they believed bread prices were too high. That makes a lot of sense. You think bread prices are too high, so you destroy the wheat factory that produces and makes the bread. So now you have no bread. They equally irrationally pledged to accept only hard money, gold and silver coins, instead of bank money notes and deposits. When the former was needed to acquire more flour from places not ravaged by, all the stuff going around, you had that Haitian fly, cholera, you had fires, okay, not caused by global warming, like they're claiming that the arsonist fires are now, but by allowing too much dry wood to accumulate in one place, which was Manhattan at the time. What is that odd saying about repeating history again? Now imagine 2020's murder hornets, COVID-19 lockdowns, urban riotous uprisings and such, but with enemy aircraft overhead and missiles inbound, because we are also at war with Iran or China or Russia or North Korea or all of the above. Normally, countries do not want to throw down against the United States, which has proven its willingness and ability to invade, occupy, bomb, and generally ruin countries, no matter how many trillions of dollars it takes. But it isn't clear that Uncle Sam has trillions to spare anymore, especially if it's going to fight if it's going to a fight club on itself. And it's clearly vulnerable in age when the World War II Japanese tactic of trying to light its Western force on fire has become apparently easy. Moreover, America's rulers might be interested in fomenting a war about right about now, just to distract you from the domestic difficulties that we're facing. Now, they are likely under the silly misapprehension that war is good for the economy. Now, that sounds crazy, and it is, but we're talking about the same brainiacs who gave up the growth inducing free trade consensus for tariffs, industrial policy, and anti price gouging laws. The war scenario is not far fetched. We've seen the movie Wag the Dog and other similar titles. Now, if you take a look at, let's say, around 1913 through 1996, what has happened, and then you go back in time and you take a look at Western civilization and how it's about to collapse back into the Dark Ages, well, you come to this. Now, here's a quote from Robert Tisbet's Twilight of Authority from 1975. Peep it. Periodically in Western history, twilight ages make their appearance. Processes of decline and erosion of institutions are more evident than those of genesis and development. Something like a vacuum obtains in the moral order for larger numbers of people. Human loyalties, uprooted from accustomed soil, can be seen tumbling across the landscape with no scheme or larger purpose to fix them. Individualism reveals itself less as achievement and enterprise and mere performance. Retreat from the major to the minor, from the noble to the trivial, to the communal to the personal, and from the objective to the subjective is commonplace. There is a widely expressed sense of degradation of values and of corruption of culture. The sense of estrangement from community is strong. The major stigmata, as Nisbet terms the signs of twilight, leads to a dark age of militarism because war appeals to increasing numbers of people as a way out of economic crisis, political division, and intolerable social disintegration. The horrors of war go unheeded in the twilight era because a spreading wave of unreason engulfs both popular and philosophical writing. Now, while a year is defined by the amount of time it takes the Earth to revolve once around the sun, when a new year begins is arbitrary and varies over culture, such as the Chinese or Jewish New Years. And over time, the new year in the Christian Western world, in fact, used to begin in March, which is why the names of our months do not correspond with their current number. September equals 7, but it is the 9th month of the year currently, October equaling 8, but it is the 10th month, November equaling 9, and December, of course, equaling 10. So, because 2021 is just a cultural construct away, the world will improve, not on an arbitrary day, but when you all decide to make it a better place. But how can people who have been propagandized all of their natural life be held to such an impossible task? I don't think it's going to happen, ladies and gentlemen. So because of that, get ready. Get ready, folks. It's going to be a bumpy ride. It's going to be a bumpy ride. And I don't know if everyone has it in them to survive it. You have to have your own mind in order to survive it. And like I said, I don't think people are there yet. Are we there yet? Are we there yet? No. The answer is no. No, no, and no. So that's something for you guys to think about over the weekend. Just give it some thought. Think about it. Think about, where we are, where we've been, and where we're headed, because it is not pretty. And, for years I've been here on YouTube, explaining things, telling you about things. And I always get that one individual says, yeah, but you keep saying it, but people are, people are going to rise up. People are going to do this. People are going to do that. No, they're not. No, they're not. They're doing exactly what I told you they were going to do. That's what sheep do. Sheep riot and loot and destroy things. They burn down their own neighborhoods. That is an act of lunacy and a cry for help. And not only that, but then you got people being paid to do this. People are literally taking money to tear down their own country in an effort to help those that wish to destroy the country. It's not some foreign government or some foreign power that's destroying the country. It's its own citizens tearing it down. You get what you get when you do something like that. Remember, PulseWaveTrading.com. Come learn how to break bread with us in these markets. PulseWaveTrading.com. And remember, bulls make money, bears make money, and pigs get slaughtered. So remember to take what you can and give nothing back. And remember, try to have some fun this weekend. Try to decompress, kick back, relax, spend time with friends, family, spouses, and children. Find a hobby if you don't already have one. You got to decompress and be ready come Sunday evening to get back in these markets. All right? Peace.